And so ultimately, the final call was, okay, well, he's a ruthless dictator, and so we're going to free the people. And that's absolutely true. He was a ruthless dictator. He was also happened to be a ruthless dictator that we helped bring to power in the region and were allies with in the 1980s. So this is information that stays under the radar and isn't given to the American people. If we look at how the U.S. forces are trained, even just from the time of basic training, a very good reference for that is the film The Ground Truth. And it's basically when a new recruit shows up for basic training, they try to strip the individual of his or her identity. They take their clothes away, put them in a uniform. Take their hair away, everybody gets the same haircut, and then comes the drill sergeant who comes to scream in their ear, insulting their family and breaking the individual down. The majority of Americans are motivated by wanting to do good. We wanted to do good within our local communities. We want to do good for people in our efforts overseas. And so our government tells us we're doing good, when in reality it couldn't be further from the truth. And even within the training of the military, there is destruction of the individual, and really I believe the individual recruit is traumatized in order to follow orders. You have to break down the individual in order to have them to see themselves as part of a unit, so that if you fail or if you think for yourself, you are failing that unit. It's not just yourself. The whole unit is depending on you. And that's how you get people to follow orders. It was found in World War I that only 19% of soldiers fired their weapons. And the powers that be, whether it was the Defense Department, the administration, saw that there was a need to change that. And that's when the forces were introduced to dehumanize the enemy. And so this is how we end up today with referring to Vietnamese as gooks, referring to Iraqis as hajis or ragheads. And you have to believe that the other person's life is not as valuable as your own in order to take that life. But in spite of all that brainwashing and training, you have tremendous conflict inside the individual soldier who comes home, which is why on average today between 17 and 19 soldiers and Marines are committing suicide in this country trying to cope with what they've experienced in Iraq. So when they're chanting, kill, 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 blood makes the green grass grow, or when they're chanting, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head, shoot until the Iraqi is dead, this is not priming individuals to help. It's priming them to go carry out a mission that is to pave the way for corporate profit, which is really the bottom line in all of this. And I firmly believe that if the American people understood that we want to send American soldiers overseas to make money for Halliburton or Bechtel or DynCorp or Blackwater or Khaki, and the list goes on, the American people would say, absolutely not. And so that's really the idea that we're helping in Iraq. If you ask the Iraqi people, as their lives have gotten consistently worse day after day, that we are not helping. The only thing we can do to help is immediately and unconditionally withdraw.
There's another thought that has crossed my mind, and that is, when we take a look at the Declaration of Independence, it says that there are certain rights given to us by our Creator and that are inalienable rights. And what our Founding Fathers gave us was a recognition of those rights that were pre-existing our form of government. If that logic holds true, then these are rights that are given to all humans by our Creator. And then it doesn't matter whether or not they're U.S. citizens or whether we were colonists who separated from Great Britain. These are rights that all humans have. If that's the case, then there should be some sort of recognition of those rights in other countries as well. And how do Iraqis in the current situation in Iraq view their rights, as whether they are being upheld or being trampled on by the Iraqi government, their own military, and the U.S. forces?
Oh, it's really bad. I've seen many video clips of Iraqis on the streets saying, this is the democracy you brought us, this is the freedom you brought us, because there's blood in the streets. And the comparison is that we condemned Saddam Hussein, and rightly so, for allegedly killing 300,000 Iraqis over a period of 30 years. Under 5 years of U.S. occupation, U.S.-led occupation, we quadrupled that number. So, and this is a staggering figure for a country of 26 or 27 million. That's about 5% of the population, about 1.2 to 1.5 million dead, which for us would be 15 million people. And how would we react if another country invaded us and wiped out 15 million people? That's 2 New York cities. And so it's very easy to make the connections if we have the facts and understand the facts on the ground. But we have certainly withdrawn their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, so much so that I think it's summed up well in the idea that Iraqis, the phrase they say today is that today is worse than yesterday, it's better than tomorrow, which is an extremely hopeless and bleak outlook. And so resistance continues, and we're going to have to kill all 27 million Iraqis if we want to maintain control of the oil. That's clear, and I think that we have better things to do with our time and our money.
But there is one point that many people often make, and that is that Iraqis are killing Iraqis. And so how would Iraqis killing Iraqis be a fight against Americans?
Well, this is the age-old concept of divide and conquer. It's been dismissed, and you will hear pundits say today that, well, these people have been killing each other for thousands of years. No, this all started back in 2003. We didn't hear about these divisions prior to that time. And in the British, who originally carved the country that they call Iraq, on purpose wanted to put together 3 concentrated populations. The ethnic Kurds in the north, predominance of Sunni Muslims in the middle portion, and concentration of Shia Muslims in the south. But realistically, Iraq is a mixed country. There is no ethnic or religious or racial purity. Within my own family, on my father's side, my grandmother was Sunni, my grandfather was Shia, and they had 10 kids together. So something worked out all right between them, and I have many cousins today as a result of it. But this is clearly a recreation of this divide and conquer, and this is empires have been using it for years. What we've done to stoke those fires is to train squads, much like we did in Latin America. That was our policy at the time, and this was what Iran-Contra was about, that scandal from the 80s, that we were funding Iran, selling arms to Iran under the table during the Iran-Iraq War without Congress's knowledge. The money made by selling those arms was used to fund the Contras, whom the Reagan administration deemed freedom fighters, but they were basically paramilitary death squads who were in Nicaragua to serve the American agenda and defeat the indigenous movements there. So the same thing is happening in Iraq. It's called the Salvador option, and we are training. It's not only the same structure that's been put into place, it's the very same people.
Thank you.